Today, I'm breaking down the Senate screening of Nigeria's new INEC chairman nominee, Professor Joash Amupitan. Date, Thursday, October 16th, 2025. Setting, a packed plenary, high stakes, and pointed questions. Right out of the gate, senators pressed on integrity, patriotism, and the courage to be fair. One voice drew a sharp contrast with Ghana, highlighting quick concessions and zero litigation after presidential results can build trust, asking, "What will you do differently so results reflect the people's will?" Then came the flashpoint, a direct question. Were you part of the president's legal team or not? That's the tension line in this hearing. Independence versus perceived allegiance. Leadership in the chamber countered with context. A sitting president conceding before final tallies in 2015. Reforms launched after the disputed 2007 elections. The message: reforms can work, litigation can shrink, and concession culture can grow when elections improve. But they didn't sugarcoat today's reality. Right now, many contests head straight to court. That's the atmosphere the new chair would be walking into. Mentorship became a surprise subplot. A senator asked how guidance wouldn't become influence. When you go wrong, your mentor becomes your tormentor. On the technical side, his specialization, law of evidence, actually got applause. Stronger evidence practices can reduce flimsy post-election cases and cut courtroom battles. Big structural challenge, presumption of regularity. Should the Electoral Act be amended so INEC is not presumed right by default? That shifts the debate to systems, laws, safeguards, and incentives that build or erode public confidence. Another thread, voters. How will the nominee overhaul voter education so citizens know the rules, tools, and their rights before election day? How will he balance independence, loyalty, respect, and patriotism? What does loyalty look like when you must defend the process over any person? Regional pride, especially from the North Central, senators urged him to embody the bridge-building ethos. If confirmed, Professor Amupitan faces 3 immediate tests: prove independence, head-on answers about past affiliations, transparent decision-making, tighten evidence, tighten logistics.
The issue has been, as he rightly said, integrity, patriotism, and above all, courage to do the right thing and capacity to be fair. Most of them are first-class scholars. You, at your age, have invested with this responsibility to make Nigeria proud. And look at our neighboring country, Ghana. The general elections they conduct. The last one specifically, presidential election, no litigation. Even before the final vote, the tally was counted, the sitting vice president, who was candidate of the ruling party, called President Mahama, now in office, and conceded defeat. So even within our West African sub-region, there's no doubt that we are clearly not acting as the giants of Africa when it comes to electoral integrity. So my comment will be,
question.
What will you do differently to write your name in gold to ensure that the results that will be announced will reflect the will of the people, so that everybody will congratulate one another and go and prepare for the next election? That way, Nigeria will renew its leadership and will reinforce our national identity and pride. Elections should not bring us down or make us look small or divide us. And you are aware of the enormous responsibility that history beckons on you. What would you do differently? But like I said earlier, use this opportunity to address the issues that have been speculated, rightly or wrongly, so that you can from now build a foundation of integrity and confidence on the people. Were you a part of the president's legal team or no? Thank you.
Well, I would have said if you had spoken without asking question and a mischievous question, it would have looked as if you are no longer in opposition. But when you mentioned Ghana and other West African countries, they actually borrowed from Nigeria. You are from Bayelsa State, representing a section of Bayelsa. Recall that when the last election was done, even before the final announcement, the then president, Jonathan, who was from Bayelsa, congratulated President Buhari, even before the final election was done. Clearly, and I'm also aware that in 2007, the elections were not very good, that even the person who won came out and said, I must reform the electoral system. And that was late President Yaradua. May his soul rest in peace. He said so himself. And by the time he finished, in 2011, when I contested for second term as a governor, I can tell it was much better. The litigations were less than 30% of what we had in 2007. So I know that as the election improves, not just the participants have confidence to congratulate their opponents. So that's what they are telling him. He should go and he should conduct where what? Where what? At that time, PDP was not torn into shreds. No, Senator Ningi, at that time, the PDP was not torn into shreds. But there's no human being that is sane today that can even go to such a platform, because you are going straight into litigation. You are going straight into litigation. So let us not discuss with the incoming chairman of INEC as if we are giving him a clue, because you are going straight into litigations. Who is going to sign your form? Senator Sahabi Yao.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Yao Usahabi Alhaji. I represent Zamparano Senatorial District. Mr. Nominee, you have all it takes to be the chairman of INEC. But during your presentation, there was one word you mentioned which pricked my concerns. And I felt I should seek more clarification on that very word. And that is mentorship. You made mention that you are in the service, that is National Youth Service, when a mentor made you to become a lecturer. And by your pains, when you are saying that, I realize you very much appreciate mentorship. Professor, there is that need for you to please, for the sake of other Nigerians that are watching, to clarify more on this mentorship, because my fear is that you may, in trying to over-appreciate mentorship, cause some disservice in your work. Another thing I want to draw the attention of is that of your specialization. You specialized in law of evidence. That is a very, very good one for somebody who is going to be the INEC chairman, because we should be conscious that we should have evidence before we go to the courts. So that will be a very good one for this country, and it will reduce the number of court cases that are likely to spring off after the election. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Sabi Yao. What you didn't add is that how is he going to advise us in the Electoral Act amendment to ensure that there is no presumption of regularity in anything that INEC does? Because it is a presumption that INEC is right that brings about injustice when INEC is wrong. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's part of what we must look at, whether to amend it or otherwise. In the court, it is presumed that once INEC announces result, then INEC is right. But when INEC announces the wrong result as a result of maybe logistic problems or compromise, I don't think that INEC is right. You understand?
Yes,
so the law should not be that INEC is right. I believe that INEC should be held responsible and accountable to Nigerians where INEC is wrong. So, and then you are also asking him, how are you going to do away with the influence of mentors? Because in politics, it's simple. When you go wrong, your mentor becomes your tormentor.
Respect to Your Excellency, the Senate President, to allow...
but you didn't hear what I said. I
do understand what you are saying.
You made a very good point. That how is he going to do away with the influence of mentors? Isn't it?
Right.
Because in politics, we know what to do. That when you go wrong, your mentor becomes your tormentor. On that note, Senator Walada, ask your question, then he can signify whether he wants to answer.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, sitting as chair. I am Senator Ahmed Wadada Aliyu Sarkin Yakin Kefi Magajin Dangin Lafia, and I represent Nasarawa West Senatorial District of Nasarawa State. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Mr. Nominee, you have a very encouraging and proud resume, particularly to those of us that are of North Central extraction. Congratulations for making us proud. The issue of virtually everything that needs to be mentioned or questioned have been, but all other things that will be said, including mine, will only be emphasis or will be emphatic on what had been said before. All that we've been talking about here is about ultimately the electorates. And it is one of the primary responsibility or cardinal responsibilities of INEC to ensure voter education and enlightenment. And of course, before now, efforts have been put in place. How different would you do this? Secondly, and this is because you are a professor, independence, loyalty, respect, and patriotism are all required and needed by all that occupy public offices. How are you going to distinguish between this? Between loyalty, independence, respect, and patriotism. Finally, I will be sentimental because I am of North Central extraction. North Central, from the beginning of the entity called Nigeria, has always been the bridge. It has always been the peacemaker. It has always been the most accommodating.